everyone. It's Ryan Fowler with the Inner Game Group live every Saturday. We have a great one today. There's an interview with Danny Morel, and he's kind of a jack of all trades in some ways, meaning he was a business strategist. Now he's a life coach. He's a spiritual coach, which to me is maybe a little weird, but it's actually not weird because I think there's a lot of spirituality in psychology and what we do. It's just not religion, but it is absolutely spiritual. So we're going to look at his interview today, and he's talking about a lot of stuff that we cover, but he's giving his own take on it, and he's really nailing a lot of core concepts about, internal validation, external validation, what happens in childhood as we develop, and also talking about some pretty sick aspects of our culture and how we can journey from fear and from looking outside of ourselves to validation and love to finding that within ourselves and healing ourselves. And that's what we do all day, every day. So it's going to be a great discussion. But before we dive into that, Jordan, welcome to the show. Tim, welcome to the show. Introduce yourselves.
Hello. Jordan Kurtz. I run Jordan Kurtz Hypnosis. And like these two, I'm a hypnotist. And we help you find identify all of the limiting, maladaptive, subconscious beliefs within you. And we extract those using hypnosis, and we help you reinforce the positive beliefs that you already have. And spoiler alert, you are good enough just the way you are. And we help you live basically whatever matters most to you in your life. We help you get more of that and experience more of that. So thanks for having me as always, Ryan.
All right. And by the way, Denise, welcome to the show, and P-Dubs as well. And go ahead, Tim.
My name is Tim. Still, it hasn't changed yet. And I am with Tim Costello Hypnosis. And like these two wonderful gentlemen above me here, we are hypnotists, and we help you find joy, because joy is what it's all about. And to just add what Ryan said about the fellow we're going to talk about today is that when you remove fear in all its many forms, and quite frankly, there are a lot of forms of fear that we'll find out about throughout today's show and other shows, that is when you become truly authentic. And not a fake authentic, not putting on a show authentic, but truly authentic, which quite frankly starts your spiritual journey a lot more pure than if you were living in fear. So I like the idea of a spiritual leader, but you can be your own spiritual leader by simply becoming authentic and digging down. And again, it has nothing to do with religion, it has everything to do with your spirituality. That's it, Ryan. Let's take it away.
Okay.
Hello, Rebecca. Good to see you.
Also, just check your wiring connections. That might be why your volume's low, Tim. It may not be fully plugged in.
Nothing has changed.
Now, nope, it just got better.
No, isn't that weird? I didn't touch a thing.
Now you can turn the volume down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think.
How about now? How about now? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's great. Just turn it down a little.
I just did.
Turn it down 20% more.
How about now?
Yeah, good enough. All right. So we got the clip here. Can you cue it to about 240 or actually, 244? No, actually cue it to 242. And then we'll just go ahead and get going, Jordan. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Danny Morel.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You have a quote I want to start with that I want to read.
Okay.
It's a quote that you said that said, "From the moment we're born, we're taught that life is a balancing act, a struggle between work, relationships, health, and finances. The secret is, for true success and personal fulfillment, one must have it all: financial freedom, great health, rewarding relationships, and meaningful work. You must live a life of abundance. You can have it all." What we are talking about right before this is that a lot of people have pain, sadness, and suffering in their lives.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't feel like they have it all. What is the root
Just
cause?
pause real quick right there.
Yeah.
That right there is, and they're not saying you should believe this. That right there is inherently a toxic message.
Yes.
Because then if you don't get it all, you're not good enough. And that's why the rate of depression, I looked at this just the other day. Over 36% of women in the U.S. have been diagnosed with depression. Over 36%. Now, they may not have it currently, but they've been diagnosed with clinical depression at some point in their life. That is insane. And you look at teenage girls. Now, for teenage boys, it's 29% feel hopeless. Teenage girls, 57%. That is a super screwed up message. And that right there, what they just said, I think is one not the only, but one of the big reasons people feel that way. Oh, I need to do all this stuff to be good enough. And it's total bullshit. But we'll keep going.
Well, let me just comment on that.
In fact, you cannot have it all. Sorry,
Yeah,
you cannot have it all.
I actually don't like the word all. I'm really hesitant to use the words that are all exclusive or all inclusive, such as
black or white,
everyone or everybody or all or none, those type of things, because you can have it all. That doesn't mean anything, but let's just say that you can have what you desire to have.
Yeah,
right?
You can get what you want.
If you wanted financial independence, what does that mean? A lot of people think that means to be really wealthy. What it really means is to live well within your means as time goes into the future. If you're living on Social Security, you just keep your bills down to the point where they're not overwhelming your Social Security payments, and you're fine. You are financially independent. Right now, if Social Security checks stop running, you might have to chop your own wood and grow your own tomatoes, but that's okay. So I don't like the have it all thing, and I don't like these are the four things that are all, because they're not, right? It is important to have joy, period.
Yeah.
Once you have joy, you will find out what it is you authentically desire. Once you have that, you're happy. What's next? Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, I just read this post, by the way, from this Instagram influencer, a very intelligent lady, 242,000 followers. No, she's not just posting bikini pics. In fact, I don't think she has anything of the sort on her Instagram. She's a financial advisor, and she posted on her threads that on the weekend she's depressed, often stays in bed. She's a contributor at Forbes magazine. 242,000 followers, a financial advisor, obviously successful, obviously succeeding above average in a field of successful people, largely successful people, and chronic depression. Really, really sad. I'm going to reach out to her and I'll say, hey, help me get a few more Instagram followers. I'll fix your depression. I'll do it in 1 to 3 sessions, and you guys know I can. I mean, 95% can, I'd say 90% fixed. 1 to 3 full sessions, 90% of people's depression to be fixed, and another 5% I can fix in 2 more. They just need more. 5% is very difficult to help, but yeah, 95%, absolutely, we'd fix that. So hopefully she'll say yes. Because my heart goes out to her, but and she has it all. As far as feminism and our society is concerned, she has it all. Miserable. It's
miserable.
Sad. It's sad.
No fun. Hey, Matt W. just posted something pretty serious.
Okay.
His mom passed away this morning. First of all, Matt, I am sorry to hear that.
Sorry, man.
We all love our mom, no matter what she did to us or brought us through, etc. But you are correct. It is important to have those things cleared up with family always, number one, so that you can move forward clearly, and you do never know when they're going to leave. So 100%. Our hearts go out to you today as you think about your mom's passing.
And Crafty and Crime Daily, we saw you last week. Welcome again. Welcome to the show.
And that is Rebecca.
Rebecca, how you doing, Rebecca? Okay, let's see if I can.
I'll add one more point to Matt real quick. If you're listening to this and you do have grudges against family members that have passed, that's also something we can help with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We resolve that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know how to bring that clip back up. Wait, it's right there. Okay. You're in control.
Yep, you did. All right.
I'll let you do it, Jordan.
Pain, suffering, and sadness that a lot of people are feeling in the world right now that's keeping them blocked from having it all.
Okay, we're going there.
Yes.
I love it. Let's do it. So it all starts when you're born. If you think about it, you are in the comfort, the safety, the protection of your mother's womb, and you don't need anything. Yeah, you're getting fed, you're getting your nutrients. There's nothing to do masculine, right? And then you are born, and all of a sudden the lights are on. So think about this. You go from dark to light. That's the polarity. That's where it all begins. And in that moment you cry. That's where fear enters your life. The mother's womb is love, the feminine, right? And then the lights and the crying, that is essentially, that's the masculine. That's your mind going, what's going on?
The senses.
That's right. And how can I keep safe, right? So now when you were born, you're literally just picture yourself as a baby right now. And I would love for your listeners to just like connect to the child, right? In them, the innocence of them. You're born and you're on your back and you're helpless and defenseless. Right? Your entire life is dependent upon these two people, which are your caretakers, which is your mother and your father. What you eat, and if you eat or don't eat, what you feel, all of it, just from the way that they are looking down on you, they immediately start to imprint into your subconscious mind your beliefs around life. So if your parents look down at you like this, you are thinking, oh my God, life is awesome, right? But if your parents were in the middle of maybe a divorce or an argument or money issues or stress, anxiety, maybe drug issues, maybe abuse, these are real things that happen in life, then you're looking up like, I don't know if this thing called life is safe. As a matter of fact, I feel like this thing called life is meant to be struggle. And you are thrust out of your heart, love, abundance, you are it all, connection with God, into the mind. And immediately your whole focus is, how do I protect myself and keep myself alive, basically, right? Now,
okay, pause right there, please.
A lot to that.
A lot to that. I want to say he's partially wrong, but there's a lot of good stuff here. So as you guys know, Tim and Jordan, and I don't know if you've done this with any of your sessions, I've had, I think 3 of my clients where we went back to their birth, and they actually, their subconscious remembered their birth, and they had traumatic births. But I was actually taken back in hypnosis to when I was in my mom's womb. And consciousness as humans starts sometime in your womb. I don't know when. I don't know if it's 4 months in or 8 months in or 2. I don't know. But I was taken back by a hypnotist because I used to have anxiety 24/7. I cleared a lot of it on my own, but couldn't get all of it. So I got a hypnotist to do sessions for me. And this one hypnotist took me back to when I was in my mom's womb. And when I was going back, all of a sudden I'm feeling more and more and more anxiety well up within me. Well, that was my mom's trauma. She had a ton of anxiety. And trust me, she does. I know my mom. And it shocked me. I was like, dang, I'm in my mom's womb in this hip. Now, I'm not like visualizing anything, but I'm feeling what I felt as a baby in my mom's womb. And I felt a lot of anxiety. And I think one thing that he's missing here is very traumatized parents in the womb. The kids pick up on it.
Sure.
So I will say one other thing. Everything else he absolutely nails. As babies and children, we absolutely instinctively know we need our parents for survival and we need to feel safe as children. I remember as a baby, my mom had her trauma, narcissistic personality disorder. I remember as a baby, like when I was doing hypnosis and healing my, a a lot of my major early stuff early on in the self-hypnosis process. I got taken back to a memory where I remember I'm a baby looking up at my mom, and she's looking down at me with these cold, dark shark eyes. And I remember as a baby feeling terrified, like, this woman doesn't love me. Oh, holy shit. You know, I didn't say holy shit as a baby, but, you know, feeling that way, right? Yep. And feeling terrified that, oh man, my mom doesn't love me. She's looking at me just like with these cold, unfeeling eyes. And that's her trauma. You know, I mean, narcissistic, the full-blown disorder is a very serious thing.
Yeah, and let's be clear. It's not that she didn't want to love you. She just didn't know how to love you. She was so traumatized.
Very, very traumatized childhood. And you know, I've forgiven my mom because that was her trauma, you know. Yep. I mean, she was traumatized as a young child, and that's what happened. So anyways, do you guys have any comments on that or anything else?
No, I think he's starting off really well with looking, you know, coming into the world. We have a mom and a dad, hopefully, and we can look up to those mom and dads as our mentors, our leaders, and our teachers. And if they are not that, then your subconscious, like he mentions, will try to figure out how to protect you.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to figure out ways and mannerisms to allow you to be protected by yourself, which really isn't meant to be at that age. But it'll start constructing routines that make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
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 And I think he's using more flowery language than I would probably use. He's saying you go from your heart into your head.
He's doing the spiritual woohoo thing a little bit.
Yeah, which is fine if that's the way it helps you understand these concepts. I'd just be a little more simple of it. Like, your parents are effectively gods, and if their children don't think of themselves as they don't want to think of their parents as the problem, they internalize the problems for themselves. And so if any turbulence or any issues are going along in the world, the child automatically encodes that in their subconscious for survival, which I agree with him there. And so, but yeah, I think that's his main point he's trying to go for.
Yeah. So Matt W, sounds like your whole childhood, if you still have trauma from your childhood, if you're struggling now with insecurities, doubts, feeling not good enough, trapped anger, rage, anxiety, just whatever, unhealthy habits to help you manage inner pain or addictions or whatever. Now, by the way, we're not addiction counselors, just so you know.
Right.
But we fix this trauma. It's absolutely fixable. I used to have a ton of it. And Jordan, you know, you did sessions and you had some trauma. You fix your trauma. Tim was just rock star from day one. But
I still can't play the guitar.
Yeah, I can. But your wife had trauma. We fixed that. And then she tried 20 times to start a business. Anxiety got the best of her, fixed it. Now she has a business and it's thriving. It's like absolutely freaking thriving, going through the roof. So
it is.
Your suffering at this point is optional, Matt. You can fix it whenever you're ready. You can fix it, and it doesn't take forever by any means. You could probably fix it very quickly. Right there at the bottom, there's a free self-hypnosis program to get you started. Now, we're not medical professionals. I'm just telling you my clients' experiences. We're not making any claims. This will be the same thing for you because we're not allowed to because the system sucks. But school.com right there at the bottom /Ryan Fowler SOS -7231. There is a free self-hypnosis course. I've actually had people cure their major depression just by using that free course. And there, if you look at, I think it's either Super Neuroplasticity Part 3 or Part 4, that video. They both have video interviews at the end. And I think it's Part 4. An interview guy fixed his depression just listening to the free course, and he freaking makes me cry, that bastard. So, yeah, when you're ready, or contact us. The most powerful thing to do is just have us do a one-on-one session. We all do this stuff. We fix this core identity, all this childhood wound stuff, but you can do it for free. You don't need to visualize things to get better. You need to feel it. So
Correct.
if you are feeling negative feelings, but you can't visualize a childhood memory, we still fix you. It's more important to feel things than visualize things in hypnosis or otherwise. Like I have people could not remember their childhood, but the pain was there. We fixed it. So I have people do sessions, and part of the session we go back to an early childhood memory, the inception of some bad subconscious belief or maladaptive subconscious belief that, you know, something happened to you as a kid and you formed a belief and it's causing you struggle now. And we do sessions, I do sessions, and usually people go back to an early memory. Sometimes they don't. Still fix them. Going back to an early memory is an aid. Visualizing is an aid, but different people are different. I had one guy and I'm like, imagine a stairway, and it's just to get him into hypnosis. Going down the stairs, getting more and more relaxed. He's like, I don't see any stairway. And I'm like, you sense it? And he's like, yeah. So some people just kind of sense or feel it's there and don't even visualize stuff. We still fix them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's talk about Ryan just brushed over a point there that we will take people back to the first time they felt that way. What he meant was, and like you said, the first time you felt that belief within you, your subconscious knows exactly when that is. It remembers everything. And it may not know in time, but it will know when that event happened in your subconscious. And when you go back, you simply ask your subconscious, how old are you? And I have taken people back so far to the age of 3. That was the first time they generated that subconscious routine that they weren't good enough. And your subconscious knows it.
yeah.
So that's essentially where you're starting. You're starting at the end of their true joy and the beginning of their pain. And your subconscious knows when that is. So we go back and we clear that. And it's amazing to me how everybody is a different age when they form whatever belief we're trying to correct.
Yeah. And so just so you know, 97% of the people who do hypnosis can go back to an early memory. But if for the small percentage that cannot, as long as they're feeling the negative feelings that's connected to their painful subconscious beliefs, we can fix them even if they can't remember the memory.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
almost all do. Just a very few.
And we are careful to not. There's a reason when we're all doing the hypnosis training that they give you like, all right, don't use the words see. We use the
Right.
word experience
or notice. What do
or
you know?
imagine.
Notice,
Imagine.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we do accommodate. We know some different people can visualize at different levels. So we are very aware of that. We always accommodate our sessions to the whatever the client's abilities are. But
Yeah.
everyone can and will get positive experiences from that.
Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, Carl Jung has a lot of good stuff. But his shadow work is a type of psychoanalysis. And Tim, I think 2-3 weeks ago, you read this research.
Yep.
It was back in the 1970s. They did this research where they compared the efficacy, and it actually involved it's quite an extensive study and involved some in-depth
Psychoanalysis. Yeah, psychoanalysis, Wolpian, which is
38% got better off of that.
Yeah,
and it took several years. It was like 600 or 300 sessions or some ridiculous amount.
Yeah, 600 sessions over a number of years.
And then more effective was cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yep.
Which was 22 sessions, and then and there was about 60%, which is actually very high because the data now shows it only works about half the time.
Yep.
And that's considered the gold standard method that modern psychologists use. And then this study showed hypnosis, 6 sessions, 93% recovery rate. So and science now understands the head of the psychiatry department at Stanford is a hypnotist. He's a psychiatrist too, but his name is Dr. Robert Spiegel. And type in his name on YouTube and watch his stuff. Type in Dr. Andrew Huberman, Stanford neuroscientist, and hypnosis. Dr. Andrew Huberman, hypnosis. They're both huge fans. There's a amount of research. It is the fastest, most effective way to rewire your brain. Young has a lot of good information, but when it comes to getting you better, he kind of sucks. When it actually comes to getting you better, when it comes to getting you to understand what's in you psychologically, a lot of really good stuff. When it comes to getting you better, not very good at all. Just so you know.
Let's roll.
Yeah.
All right. I got it.
You keep growing on, and as you start to develop, right, you start learning from this mother and this father. And this mother and this father, based off of their woundings and based off of their life's experiences, pass down and into you more love or more fear, further thrusting you into one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, when I looked up, I saw a beautiful mom. And my mom's mom died when she was only 13 days old.
Wow.
The mother is the feminine. The feminine is the heart. So that means that my mom did not grow up with literally the frequency or the energy of love, because the mother is the source of love, right? This is why God made the woman to have breasts and to give milk, because
Next to the heart.
and next to the heart, absolutely, because it's the love coming from her,
Wow.
sustaining the life in the child, right? The father is meant to be a source of guidance, direction, masculine, right? My father was the result of an affair, and so his dad disowned him.
Wow.
And I'll tell you something else that's really interesting. My dad, to this day, can't complete a sentence without a stutter.
Oh.
And I always wondered, like, this doesn't make sense, because, like, for me, communication is pretty easy, right? Come to find out, his dad was like the local politician, business person, and it finally all made sense. So I had a masculine wound and a feminine wound. So what happens is that when we have these woundings, we are essentially taught, like, I'm not getting the love that I should be getting.
You may not even be thinking it. You're just feeling something's off.
Lewis, it's so deep.
Yeah.
It is no here.
Yeah.
It's just, and
It's
then
everywhere.
it's
Yeah.
everywhere. And you
Hang
start
on
to
right there.
create this
Yeah.
story.
Pause real quick.
So I want to key on one thing he said, and I heard this before, and the two other times I listened to it. He said it is so deep.
Yeah.
And people,
It's true.
I think they talk like this because they can't fully explain what deep means, but deep makes you curious, and then you'll sign up for their books or their series or whatever, and do some things to cognitively get better. What is deep mean is what I want to know.
I
And
got
what
two
I do
words to
know,
describe it.
what's
the two
that?
words are the two words to describe what he means is core identity, or three
Well,
words.
yeah,
core
I was going to
identity.
get to that.
Oh, darn it. I'm sorry.
So
You know me.
the deepness that we understand, and quite frankly, Ryan taught me, so I'm just repeating what he taught me, but it's that subconscious programming. When he talks about you either get a lot of love or you get a lot of fear, you're either going to be fearful of that you're not good enough or not enough, or you're going to be fearful of that you don't fit in or you don't belong to anything or anybody, or you're going to fear that your safety or security is at risk, or you're going to fear that you can't get what you want, so you're always going to be poor or whatever. That's that lack of abundance. Those are all fear-based subconscious programs. On the other side, he says you get love. They either give you love or give you fear. That's essentially true, because when you get enough love and you know that you're good enough and that you are enough, you don't need to be any more than you are right now, and that you can get whatever you want because you feel good about yourself. It's like, I'll just go figure it out and try it. Or you do belong not only to yourself, but you find a family to belong to, or you find a spouse, or you find a group, or whatever it is you're into. You learn to belong. And of course, you are safe and secure at that point. So there is this, and it's not deep that you can't get there. It's just deep because he doesn't know how to explain it. But it's essentially the subconscious routines developed in your childhood, running in your brain 24/7. That's deep. It's concrete, but it's not a mystery. It actually is known.
Yeah. And love very much is a type of psychological power.
Yes.
It absolutely is, because what we do at the core, we get all these, people who feel they're not good enough. Maybe at the extreme end, they hate themselves. And we get that out. They feel they don't belong or fit in, or just whatever. They can't get what they want. Get it out, replace it with unconditional self-love and belief in your ability and value. And once we get that in people, they just freaking take off, man. Like all the time. Like I have people can't hold down a job, and then 3 years later, they're making six figures.
Top in their game.
And I've had people 10x their income. We've done this. We're wading into the salesperson training field right now, because as we've done sessions for hundreds and hundreds of people, several hundred people over the years, we did sessions for salespeople. And like, I think the worst case scenario, the person doubled their sales. Some trip, Jordan, you did a session for someone 10x their sales. Why? It's just, we're really teaching them just how to love and accept themselves at a deep core identity level, at the deepest level. And people just take off. They go to Awesomeville.
Now, functionally, let's talk about that, because functionally,
more money, that's just a very narrow slice of the pie. But go ahead.
Correct. Functionally, what happens is they spend a whole lot of usually wasted time no longer wasting their time.
Yeah.
And they just get to it because they're not afraid of anything. They just dial the phone. They just set a meeting. They talk to people. They're not afraid to ask for the deal. I mean, that's really what happens. It's just they've got different software running, and they're no longer on the treadmill wasting time. They're just getting to it. Yeah, they're just getting to it. That's the funniest thing, is it's like almost a switch that one day they're wasting time, the next day they're not wasting time. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I had one guy where he was an engineer team lead, did I think 2 sessions for him, maybe 3. But after his first session, he came back to me and he said, he had like 8 or 9 other engineers under him. And he said, it used to be I would tell these engineers what to do and they'd ignore me. But over the last few months, I started to notice not only do they not ignore me anymore, but they actually come to me for advice now.
Yep.
And so before, he just had this low energy, didn't believe in himself, so they didn't believe in him. So he'd tell them what to do, and they're like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. They ignore him. Now they come to him for advice. What happened? His internal belief system shifted, his beliefs about himself and his ability and values shifted, and then people noticed it and treated him different.
And why, Ryan? Because he became authentic, and authentic is the number one aspect and element of leadership.
Yep. And that is it. That is the number one thing people naturally, instinctively look for in leaders is authenticity. Authenticity is being authentically confident, confidently authentic, understanding you have flaws, but they don't make you good enough. They just make you human, just like everyone else. And you can actually then use your flaws as a point of connection with others. Oh, look, you struggle. I struggle too. Oh, wow. He's just like me. Oh, he gets me because he struggles like I struggle, but we're going to do this together and kick ass. Becomes a point of connection. And you keep going until you win. You still have that self-belief. Yeah, life isn't perfect. We have struggles, but we're going to do this and kick some ass. And you keep going until you do, you and your team. And you believe in each other and support each other now. It's great. It's awesome. So moving on, that's all I had. But anything from you, Jordan?
I noticed he talked about his father having a stutter. That's one of the more famous examples in the circle of hypnotists, with Gil Boyne curing a stutter. And I think he correctly. Yes. I think, do we cover that on the show? I feel like we may have.
We covered a Tony Robbins clip.
Long time ago. Tony Robbins fixed the guy's stutter. He actually did hypnosis on the guy. He didn't say he was doing hypnosis, but if you watch the video, it's obvious he was, and he fixed the guy's stutter.
Yes. And I think
Gil Boyne did too.
Yes. And I think Danny points out he's kind of detecting that, I think he has got that stutter because of my father's father, that the way their relationship was. Yeah. Because stuttering is really that fear of criticism, fear I'm going to get attacked, fear I have to always be careful with what I say. Yeah. And so it's all, it's always mental.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting watching Danny kind of speak, and he talks. He's alluding to the sources of problems the way we would, but just using different language. But I like covering this kind of content because it shows that it's not just us that are, it's not just, these aren't just some harebrained theories that we came up with just randomly on our own. Like there's a lot of people who have come to the same conclusions.
Yeah.
And not necessarily from the same direction either. So I think it's important to cover this kind of stuff for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So you'll have Andrew Huberman and both of them doctors, David Spiegel at Stanford. And you can actually, mixed in with all their technical language, find them saying the same thing, but they're doing science speak, right? And but for whatever reason, they don't distill it down to more simple terms. They put in all this other stuff like, oh, acetylcholine release, and from the Majoris Mernert of, they named some brain part, right?
Hypothalamus.
Yeah, whatever. So the hippocampus, this and that, medulla oblongata, but
Amygdala.
the message here is there, and the lady whose program got me better, Melanie Tony Evans, she does a lot of woohoo speak, but everything she says is super on point. They're taking it from different angles, but the truth is the truth, man. It's just different ways to look at it from different angles. The truth's still the truth,
Yeah, and if you find one form of language helps you understand it better than the other, that's all good.
Yeah.
It's, again, this is supposed to be, the hypnosis we do is personalized for you. So if you like the more spiritual aspect, we can go that direction. If you like the more technical aspect, we do it all.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Ready to keep going?
Yep.
All right.
In the first 7 years of your life,
Yeah, I'm not lovable. I'm not enough.
I'm not enough. Maybe sometimes I can't be me. Maybe sometimes it's, I can't speak my truth because my dad told me to shut up. Maybe I can't express my emotions because every time I want to cry, my mom says, I'll give you something to cry about. And when the mother, the source of love, does that, get ready because your throat chakra locked up.
Man, my throat was locked for.
I hate to pause it so immediately, but it's like the
Throat chakra.
So first of all, I think that goes both directions. If your dad says that to you, you'll have the same kind of reaction. I don't think it's so specific as to
mom or dad,
male or female.
Yeah, we store different types of trauma and energy in different parts of our nervous system. When you feel certain feelings, ask yourself, where is it in your body? And you're like, oh, I feel it in my throat. Oh, I feel it in my chest. Oh, I feel it in my gut. Well, when they're talking about chakras, that's their way of describing that. And then neuroscience describes it differently, but they're talking about the same damn thing. Read The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. It's a best-selling psychology book on Amazon for like the last 9-10 years. He goes over the hard science, and then guys talk about, they're talking about the same thing, just from different viewpoints.
And it doesn't have to be the throat. I've had guys that I work with, like the soles of their feet are the ones that are getting on.
Yeah, I've had back, hands, shoulders,
everywhere, pretty much.
I've had ankles once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It doesn't matter where it is. It's
we have
somewhere.
a nervous system, that's where the emotional trauma aspect, which is half of a subconscious program, it's the belief and the feeling. Those are the two sides of the same coin, and that can be anywhere in your body.
Yep.
But there is a tendency for certain things to be in the chest, other things to be in the stomach, etc. Just a tendency, though.
All right.
All right.
Oh, no.
In the different chakras, as it were.
30 plus years of my life.
Yeah.
Until I started to use it in certain ways. I mean, it wasn't even until almost a year ago when I had to learn how to use it in different ways. It's like I still had to keep unlocking different levels of using my voice in business, intimacy, relationships, friends, family, like different levels.
That's right. Absolutely. And you know what the crazy thing, Lewis, is like you mentioned those pillars. Like there are 3 energies of human mastery. We're a soul having a human experience. And so when we come into this world, we have an opportunity to master these 3 energies: money, sex, and food. right? Think about most of our issues. Most of our issues are all surrounded around money. Do I have enough? Am I going to survive? You know, sex, relationships. Can I connect? Right. And then food, diet, body. Right. And so when we don't receive love from our mother and father in the purest form, which, by the way, let me let you in on the secret, there's no way they can give it to you.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no perfect parents.
No, that's, and as a matter of fact, they were
Super
perfect
true.
for you because your soul chose them. You're here on a journey, right? And your soul looked down before you came to earth and said, those two. And I know that might be hard because in the work that I do, I've heard of dads that rape women. I've heard of drug abuse. I've heard of physical beatings. All of it lends to a human being who starts looking outside of them for love. So how do we look for love? We look for love through success. We look for love through power. We look for love through admiration of the body. This is where a lot of our women are at right now. Beauty, right? We look through love through materialism. We look for.
By the way, hang on just 1 second,
Yes,
Jordan.
mon-
Go for it.
Just interrupt real quickly. What he's talking about is external validation. We're looking all around at different things to make ourselves feel better rather than loving yourself to the core and having internal, solid, continuous validation. That's what he's talking about, that external validation, of which we all know there's not enough.
And there's another side to that coin, which is external blame.
Yes.
This is where projection comes in. And our society, and unfortunately, especially the women in our society, you know, listen, men and women kind of have their own traumas. A tendency, it's broad strokes, but there's a tendency to express it in different ways. Guys, you know, can get physically violent, but I just see all the time in social media, women blaming those outside of themselves for their own shame they don't want to face within them. And now men are more predisposed to say numbing it out with alcohol or porn or video games. So I'm not letting the men off the hook, but in this topic, a lot of people who don't want to face that they're ashamed that they feel they don't have it all and therefore they're not enough, or they're underperforming in one area, whether it's relationships or career or whatever, instead of facing what's within them that is the source of the pain, I don't want to blame myself, so I'm just going to blame everyone around me. It's not them. It's not me. It's them. And this is why people rationalize, people get defensive, is they don't want to feel that pain. And our brains are literally, we have most people have some subconscious programs in them, maybe a little, maybe a ton. It varies from person to person, that they're not good enough in some way. Maybe they feel they're too fat, they're disgusting, they're creepy, they're falling short, they're stupid, you know, they're inadequate, just whatever it might be. And that feeling, I'm not good enough, is so painful, we do anything to avoid it. And so some people become drug addicts just to numb it out, or they just doom scroll on Instagram, or they're playing video games in their mom's basement all day, or, you know, they're constantly chasing outside validation and getting that validation to temporarily distract them from the fact that they feel not good enough, or they blame others for what they feel inside, when the truth is it's not external stuff. External stuff may be triggering what's within you to make you feel bad, like, oh, I just failed at this thing, I tried to do this thing, I failed, others laughed at me, now I feel bad. Well, guess what? There are literally people where if they try something and fail and others laugh at them, this is Tom Bilyeu, who went from a couch potato to 400 million net worth. He says, when others laugh at me, I'm laughing on the inside, because he's trying stuff. And he's like, because I'm trying stuff that you guys won't try, you're laughing at me for failing, but I'm going to win in the long run. I'm going to have the last laugh. And so he doesn't care. He's like, I don't care about them. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm going to keep kicking ass.
By the way, another addiction we rarely ever talk about is retail therapy.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. Yeah, I'm going to do some retail therapy. You know, does
Let's buy
that
some stuff.
yeah, does that Coco Chanel $1,500 purse really make you feel better?
Temporarily, it might.
Or are you buying it for that initial hit of now it's mine and then carrying it around so other people will notice it and compliment you on it? There's some more external validation there. You can't carry enough purses. There's not enough external validation ever.
Yeah, and I would say, like, you know, women are more depressed. I mean, the facts are just out there in Western society, in the United States especially. Women are more depressed than men. I personally believe it is because women are told you can have it all, and you can be a perfect mother, a perfect wife, and you can have an amazing career. And that is just absolute bullshit. You can have an amazing career and be a mediocre mom whose house is a mess because you're working 60 hours a week and you don't have time for that. Yeah, now your career's amazing, but you can't be like a woman who gives adequate time to her children and then adequate time to clean the house and then adequate time to have an amazing career. There's not enough time for that. Which a lot of women get in that crap.
Yeah, mom and homemaker is a full-time career for at least 25 or 30 years, depending how many kids you got.
And it's a career that should be glorified and appreciated way more than it is. And that's why a lot of women go in the workforce, because they're taught that, well, that's how you get meaning and fulfillment. And here we are heading towards a demographic collapse because most societies around the world now are not having enough children to support the population. And you look at South Korea, 0.78 births per woman. 100 years from now, their population is gonna be like a quarter what it is now. It's just gonna be a freaking ghost town. And there's a lot of other countries that are heading in that. Most other countries, to a lesser degree, are heading in that same direction.
Correct.
And then you have all these old people, and there's not enough young people to take care of them. And it actually wrecks the economy because there's not enough producers and consumers.
Yep.
It's a mess. A lot of countries in the long term are going for absolute demographic and economic collapse because of these bullshit messages, and people are just chasing validation.
Correct.
You know.
All right, let's roll.
Trying to be good enough, it doesn't work. Fix your core. That's what works.
He says this story about how you choose your soul chooses your parents. I'm not really sure where he's going with that. That's a little more esoteric for my.
I think that could be true, but we don't really know.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know that you pick your parents coming down here. I don't know if you're assigned to them. I don't know if you're set down into a situation where you know there are going to be challenges and you could overcome them. I don't know any of that, but in my view is when you land with a set of parents, they're yours.
Yep. Well, I personally believe we're here on this planet to learn and grow.
Yep.
And if you're willing, you sure do get a massive amount of learning and growth. I also believe, and this is actually a fact, not just a belief, there's no greatness without adversity. If you have an easy life, you will be soft, you will never be great, and that is just a fact. It's adversity is a challenge, and you learn and grow as you overcome it. You go to the gym and you work out, that's the challenge. What happens? Muscles gets bigger, and that's how it is with every aspect of human development, bar none.
Yeah.
No argument.
Yeah.
All right. You can keep going.
Right? When we're in the wrong energies and we look for love through relationships, when am I going to find the one, right? The journey of life is about returning to that child and reconnecting with that child and understanding that everything that happened was perfect because it brought you to this moment. And once you're in this moment, right, then you can start the process of healing. And you can start the process of moving from the frequency of fear into the frequency of love. And when you do that, Lewis, what happens is you return here and then you go, okay, what do I want in my life? Not because I'm searching for it, not because the world tells me that I need it. No, what do I want for my life? What is the truth? What is my truth? Who am I, right? Not because I'm afraid, because my dad didn't give me guidance and I'm afraid to hold the camera up, or not because I'm afraid to speak my truth, not because I need outside validation. No. What is my truth? What do I want? And then from there, it's a process of awakening and healing. And Lewis, once you get there, you can have it all, because you literally are it all.
Yeah.
You literally are it all.
That's a beautiful.
Boom. Start. That's like what we say all day, every day.
Yep.
It's like an exact copy, but it's so true. And I say that because when I got that inside of me through hypnosis, it changed everything forever. And the reason I say you have more power than you know is once you have this transformation he's talking about, you become your own source of power. You don't need things outside of you to be good enough and to feel loved. You generate love, belief, power from within you. You are now a source, generating it, radiating it into the outside world, not needing it from the world to be sufficient. The cup runneth over. You generate it within you, and now you go after what you want, and you live a life of purpose and meaning. And we don't truly get to that point where we see the before, I'm in trauma, I'm struggling, I'm suffering, I'm not feeling good, and then seeing the after, unless you have adversity. And that's why he's like, your life was, all your struggles were perfect for you, because we need that struggle to see the contrast, to really understand and appreciate how much the old way of thinking and believing and feeling is dysfunctional and screwed up and sucks, and how much this new way of, once you get this in your core, oh man, I got everything within me I need to be happy. I'm good enough, and I'm good enough just as I am. I don't need to do or say anything to be good enough. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. If others don't see my value, it means they're blind and can't see it, because I already have it. And then you're like, oh, cool. Well, what am I going to do now? And then it's like, you go after what you want. What you want, not what anyone else wants. If you want to be a surfer, great. Go be the best surfer. If you want to be a billionaire, okay, you do that. But it's what you want.
That's right. You know, Ryan Harrison in the comments just asked a question. I wonder if toxic shame was rare at one point in early history. And I would say, yes, it was. But the minute you get a group of people around, shame begins. And it even started at the point of Cain and Abel, if you want to go to the story in the Bible where, you know, Cain was a very jealous, miserable person and succumbed to the speakings of Lucifer and then killed his brother. So, yeah, there was some toxic shame early on, and it's exploding now. Absolutely exploding.
Yeah. And EC Smooth, welcome to the show. EC Smooth, he is smooth. And good friend Ryan Harrison as well. So Ryan, my approach anxiety course, twice a month coaching. He's there every other Saturday. RyanFowlerSOS.com/approach. If you have insecurities and anxiety as a man about dating, any aspect of the dating process, whether it's going up and talking to a girl, asking for a date, you're on the date, you're nervous on the date, you don't have confidence on the date, or going for the kiss when it's time for that, any other aspect, even, you know, sex is also very important if you have a lot of hangups and anxiety about that. So you can actually fix every aspect, every insecurity related to that. We have a program for that, and that's RyanFowlerSOS.com/approach. It's actually dirt cheap, $349 for the gold program, which comes with twice a month small group coaching for a year. Crazy value. It should be $1,000, and this time next year probably will be.
You know, Ryan,
Ryan's in that group.
I know we always gear this towards the guys, but for the women who also want to worry about being approached by the right guy, become your authentic self, and guess what? You will attract that guy.
You attract much better people.
You won't attract the bad boy who is going to be awful in the long run. You will attract the good, authentic person.
And it changes who you attract and who you're attracted to.
Right.
A lot of women, they go for the bad boy, and I've had clients who are the bad boy, you know, like 6'3", super jacked, all of this, but also they just constantly cheat or they do other stuff that puts them in the bad boy category. And they get a lot of success with women, but any long-term relationship, very unstable. Very unstable, lots of drama. And a lot of women get burned by that, but it's like, well, why were you attracted to that? And it comes down to what is in you. So I know women who never went after the bad boy, like never. They always went after good guys, and then they get in a good relationship, and then they're happy. I know women like that. So I'm not saying this is like all women. I'm saying this is a tendency for women with trauma. It's for guys too. Guys, like when I had low self-esteem, I was a magnet for female narcissists. So it applies to guys too in a slightly different way. Men and women are different. And again, I'm really not crapping on women. I'm just showing the struggles women have do tend to manifest somewhat differently than the struggles men have. But man, I know men who are addicted to the most toxic women. I mean, and they can't get these women out of their life because these women use love and validation as a drug, and the guy needs that drug because he can't generate it from within himself. So it happens for men and women. But you will change who you're attracted to, and you will change in general who you attract. That doesn't guarantee you won't get a bad boy going after you or a narcissist or whatever, but you're going to notice it's going to shift towards getting a lot more healthy people when you are emotionally healthy.
Yeah.
And that applies to men and women.
Yeah. Just to reinforce that, that's a concept from Nathaniel Branden. Self-esteem seeks its own level.
Actually, he doesn't agree with that.
Oh.
He doesn't agree with that.
What's he say?
Nathaniel Branden's concept of self-esteem does not align with the idea that it seeks its own level.
What's it say?
It says it takes practice and hard work and stuff, and it's crucial for personal success and happiness. And I agree, but that self-esteem comes from your core beliefs, not just a bunch of cognitive practices.
That might need to be another show.
Yeah, Nathaniel Branden's. Yeah, it's right there. So I'm not familiar with this guy, but I would say it actually is both. It's your core, but it's also there's relationship skills you learn, and those are important skills.
Absolutely.
That may need to be next week. We cover Nathaniel Branden because he has got a lot of thoughts on self-esteem.
Now, in a group setting, I think self-esteem. If you have a good self-esteem, then you will seek others with a good self-esteem and self-worth to make yourself better in the aspects that they bring to the pile.
Yes.
But I also believe that people with tremendous lack of self-esteem will tend to attract a lot of other people with a lack of self-esteem and keep all each other down.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I work with a lot of dating coaches, and, I help these coaches, students get good self-esteem, good confidence, all of that. But what the dating coaches teach is still very essential, which is the actual skill of here's how you talk to a girl. Here's what you say. Here's how, here's the technique. Here's what types of dates are going to tend to go better and allow for more connection. And here's what type, like taking a girl to a movie on a first date. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, you're not even looking at it.
Side by side watching stuff. So, and a lot of people need that advice, man. They just don't instinctively know. So, hey, you really need both sides. You do. The problem is people ignore our side massively. And until you address all this inner stuff, no matter how much technique you learn in dating, you're still going to struggle because you've only addressed a portion of what makes you struggle.
Absolutely.
And honestly, our portion is the more important part, but the other part is still really important too.
Learning. And there is our hour.
There's our hour.
Fast. My goodness.
Is there any more worth playing on this? I know we didn't get that far.
There's a lot of little tidbits along the way, but he spends a lot of time talking all that energy and frequency and all that kind of stuff that's fun to talk about and embellishes it nicely. Oh, Ryan just kicked himself out. He'll be back. But the interesting thing is I recommend people watch this and sort of pick out the little elements of what we talk about, because this guy does have quite a bit of good things going on, but he doesn't hit the mark every single time. So, but he's in the right direction for
I've
sure.
agreed with.
100% positive dude.
Yeah. Everything
And,
he
like-
said so far is spot on, but yeah.
This like energy he talks about, we seek the energy of love. I think what he's alluding to, or if I can translate that into words that I might use, it's if we don't feel like we're good enough ourselves, we look for it externally. And so he says you have to come to peace with your heart. And so translation, you have to feel like you're good enough at your core intrinsically.
I agree,
So-
Jordan. I agree.
And also when they talk about like attracts like, all of that, the scientific term is empathic neural pathways.
Yep.
So Harvard trained psychiatrist and also former monk, Dr. K, his YouTube channel, Healthy Gamer GG, he talks about how, if you're a loser, people treat you like a loser. If you have authentic confidence, people are attracted to you. And the term he uses as a scientifically trained psychiatrist is empathic neural pathways. That's a science term for, law of attraction or energy or vibration or whatever, but it is a real vibration energy. It's a real thing. And the scientists acknowledge it. They just call it empathic neural pathways. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's
I
a
agree.
lot in this, and there's a lot in this because
There is.
So we could even cover it next week if we want.
We might want to
there's a
Just
lot.
or that
continue
other-
on. It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. So
But anyways, you guys are enough as you are, but understand, if you're struggling in life, start with what's in you. No amount, dude. I know multimillionaires who are miserable. I knew a guy who's a doctor. He had clinics bringing in $8 million a year, $3 million profit. Miserable guy. I know people wealthier than that. I know wealthy people who are happy.
Yep.
But I know people, so I remember a guy told me he made over $750,000 in 4.5 months. First time he made that money. I've never made that much money in that time frame. I was like, that's amazing. Wow, how do you feel? And he's like, I'm miserable because my friend has already made 1.2 million. He felt not good enough making 750,000 in 4.5 months. I mean, it's crazy. So you work on yourself, and yeah, you could do CBT and self-talk and all that's important. We teach that. But you really need to go into this deep core stuff that develops when you're a baby. You don't even remember that as an adult, a lot of it. Use our program. Or do
One last comment from Rebecca out there, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay.
Great show, valuable info. We all agree with that,
you.
Rebecca.
Thank you,
100%.
Rebecca. And thank you, Ryan. Thank you, EC Smooth, Matt W, everyone else for commenting. We very much appreciate it.
Denise, P-Dubs, the whole crowd.
And do you guys have any fine? Yep, Denise, P-Dubs. You guys
Yeah, we're
have
good. I'm out.
Okay. Anything else,
yeah,
Jordan?
I'm good. I'm good. Great show.
All right. So thank you for watching. Keep coming back every Saturday. And the key to happiness and abundance and success is not in the outside world. It's within you. Focus on that. Fix your core. Learn how to unconditionally love and accept yourself, and then go after what you want, not what society says you should want, what you truly want authentically. And then you'll figure out, and you will realize what we know and what we keep learning every day is that you truly do have more power than you know. That's our show. Thank you.